through that intro because I am obsessed with it. I just made it. I'm super proud of myself. In 2021, we're getting real here on YouTube. There's gonna be an outro at the end of the video. Like, who is she? Well, that's a really great question. My name is Jamie. I am a unemployed post-grad. I just graduated from Binghamton University this December 2020, and I'm currently job searching but living at home in my childhood bedroom, which has actually been redone, so it's not really my childhood bedroom anymore, if we're being honest. But I am excited to take you guys along with me throughout this journey of finding a job and all of that. However, I'm here today with a college video. Today, I'm going to be talking all about my sorority recruitment experience at Binghamton University. I rushed as a second semester freshman, which is the first opportunity you are allowed to rush. You need to have at least 12 college credits, and they need to be like real credits, not like AP credits or anything like that, like not dual enrollment. They have to be like from a college that you were attending. So I rushed as a second semester freshman and I went through formal recruitment, and I want to tell you guys about it. So basically the way I'm going to structure this video is first I'm going to talk about my experience with recruitment, then I'm going to give a little bit of a tea spilling segment, and then I'm going to share some advice that I have, that my friends have. I asked for sorority recruitment advice on Instagram, so I'm hoping that some Binghamton sorority girls will tune in and give me some advice to share with you guys. So all of that being said, let's hop right into the video. Disclaimer, there is literally no tea, no shade at any sorority. I think every sorority is great and has girls that you'll get along with no matter what. It's really about finding your fit, where you fit best and where you belong. Every sorority has its own pros and its own cons, and it's really up to you to find out where you best fit. But I hope this video can shine some light into going in with an open mind and just being aware of different things that go on in the sorority recruitment rooms. When I rushed, there were 7 sororities on campus. Okay, I meant to say there were 6 sororities on campus, but there are 7 now, which messes up my numbers for the rest of the video, but that's okay. 6, then 7 now. SAE Pi, Phi Mu, D Phi E, A Phi, SGT, and Phi Sigma Sigma. And the year I was rushing was the year that Kappa Kappa Gamma was coming to campus. So when I rushed, you could join any of the 7 sororities that were already founded, or you could drop recruitment and join Kappa. So basically the way it worked was that the first round you met all 8 sororities, and then if you wanted to move forward with the 7 sororities, you stayed in rush. But if you wanted to join Kappa and interview for Kappa later, you would drop out and go do Kappa after rush. But that's not a typical year. That's not what a typical year looks like. In a typical year, you meet all 8 sororities now, and then you go ahead and do all of the rush, prefing, all of that. What's interesting about my story is that I actually did not meet Kappa Kappa Gamma during recruitment. The year I rushed, they decided to split round 1 into 2 days, so it was a Thursday and a Friday night. And honestly, a lot of us had a chem test on Thursday nights. It was a big chem freshman night for testing, so honestly, a lot of us were absent from that first day. However, the way it just went was that they said, if you want to meet Kappa, you can come on Thursday either before or after your test. But if you don't want to meet Kappa, you can do all 7 rounds on Friday. So that's what I ended up doing. I already like knew what Kappa Kappa Gamma was about beforehand, so I knew like it was always going to be an option for me regardless of whether I went to their room or not. So I chose to take my test, take the Thursday night off, and start recruitment on Friday. So that meant on Friday I went to 7 straight houses. I did not have a break, and honestly it was a little bit crazy, overwhelming, honestly a wild freaking time. But round 1 is Sisterhood round, or Values Day, I don't really know. It's basically just your introduction to the sororities, and you get 30 minutes in each room, meeting each of the girls in each sorority. So every sorority has a song. My sorority, SAE Pi, we're like, hey Sigma, you're so fine, you blow my mind. And honestly, it's crazy and overwhelming, but just smile and you'll get through it. So you just go in through the room while they're singing. A girl will link arms with you, and that's the girl you'll be paired with to talk to. So Essentially, day one is just to get a feel for the sorority. They'll tell you a little bit about their philanthropy, a little bit about their values, what they stand for, the fun events they do. My biggest thing is like ask questions, because they want to get to know you, you want to get to know them. So like, get to know them. What's your major? Where are you from? Why did you decide to rush? Just like have those answers down when you rush so you can get through them and really deeper get to know the girls. I really did try my best to go into recruitment with an open mind. The sorority I ended up joining was SAE Pi, and I already did know about them beforehand. I had some friends in the organization and I knew that it was kind of like a great place to be. So I tried to go in with an open mind, but I also knew that I had SAE Pi kind of at the forefront. At the end of day one, I actually did not like SAE Pi at all, which I think is so funny now looking back. I guess me and like the girls I spoke to just like did not really vibe, which is totally fine because every sorority has girls that you are gonna vibe with and girls that you're not gonna vibe with. And I'm gonna tell you, like, in some of the rooms, I really felt like we were having such great conversations. Some of them felt like I was pulling teeth or they were pulling teeth, like we just like didn't get along. And that's totally normal. It like just depends really on like you, your personality, the girl that you're paired with, and like a lot of times that is random. So there can always be that awkward little tension, but I know it's so cheesy, but when you do find your home, you'll know. After day one, there were 2 sororities I really loved, 3 sororities I could see myself in, and 2 sororities I did not want to be in at all. Told my program, she put it into the system, and I went home and I got ready for day 2. Alright, so then we come into day 2, and your program will hand you your little schedule of where you are gonna go that day. And I looked down at my schedule and I saw that only 2 sororities had asked me back. And it ended up being SAE Pi and one of my bottom choices. I was feeling a little defeated. I thought I had like really good conversations in the other rooms, and like it's just really disappointing like to just see like they don't want you back. But honestly, I spoke to so many girls that day that only had 2 sororities back. So it's definitely, I feel like, more common than you think. So I knew I had to go to those 2 rooms, and I knew I had to just have a positive mindset and try to make friends with the girls that I was with. So the first one I had was SAE Pi, and I walked into the room and I was immediately paired with a girl that I actually knew. She had been roommates with one of my best friends, so I like kind of knew who she was, and she was actually from my hometown as well. We didn't really know each other though, so it was a little bit weird because we felt like we should know these things about each other, but we didn't. She was like, I know I should know your major, but like, what is it? And I was like, that's okay, I know I should know your major too, but I don't know what it is. So, you know, and then that day I was passed around with a bunch of other girls, and I actually really got along with them. Day 2 is philanthropy day, so the sororities are going to tell you about their philanthropies, as well as there's probably going to be like a little activity. So there might be a little craft, and there's also going to be food. So definitely, like, if they offer you water, take the water. I recommend. You won't regret it. So day 2 is just about getting to know the philanthropies a little bit more, so we'll ask them questions about their events, why they like their philanthropy, what their philanthropy does, a bunch of different things like that, but also focus on getting to know them. So honestly, after day 2, I was really vibing with SAE Pi. I knew it was like a sorority that I could definitely see myself in and that I really wanted to be a part of. Then I went to the room that was my bottom choice at the time, but I wanted to go in with an open mind, and I really wanted to just get along with the girls. Once again, I just like wasn't vibing with them. And like, it's nothing against this sorority at all. Like, I have friends in that sorority now. At the end of this day, like, I knew I wanted to be in SAE Pi, but I also wasn't totally shut off from this sorority. I knew like I could give it another chance if I wanted to. At the end of day 2, you have to pref 2 sororities. So I had like no options. I had to pref the sororities I had went to. So I prefed SAE Pi and this other sorority that I had gone to. Then I go back for day 3, which is ritual round, and that is the round that is like the most dressed up. I wore a black t-shirt dress with like a really nice vest and a pair of boots. So like, it's definitely like not super fancy. Binghamton says like what you would wear to a fancy birthday dinner, so like you could really wear jeans and a nice sweater if you really wanted to, but like I wore a dress because I felt most confident in the dress. But honestly, like, text your Rogam if you need help. I texted a picture of my outfit to my Rogam and I was like, is this okay? And she was like, yeah. Day 3, I go in, she gives me my card, and I have SA Pi and that other sorority, which I knew what would happen. Well, I hoped would happen. I hoped that neither of them would drop me. So the first round I have is SA Pi, and I walk in and I get paired with this girl who is one of my best friend's littles. So like, I knew who she was. I actually think she had no idea who I was, but that's okay. And then I was like, I know you're big, and I met your grandbig on the train once. And she was like, oh my god, then you have to meet my twin, like, let's meet the whole fam. So I was just introduced to a bunch of different girls, and then I had SA Pi's ritual. And obviously I'm not going to talk about our ritual here because that is like a secret kind of event. But I love SA Pi's ritual. It's still something to this day that like gives me chills every time it happens. I love it. And day 3, you get an hour with the girls. You get an hour in the room, and honestly, like, that hour was not long enough for me. Like, I walked out of that room so confident that SA Pi was the sorority for me. But I still had that other sorority to go to, and I wanted to go in with an open mind at least. I knew that, like, at the end of that day, I could pref 2 sororities. So I could pref SA Pi and then that other sorority as my second choice if I wanted to, just in case SA Pi did not give me a bid. There's a reason I waited to make this video till after I graduated. Really, if we're being honest. I went into the other room and I was paired with this girl and we were just talking. And me and her just like, I didn't really feel a vibe with her, and either like it was also really loud and she couldn't really hear me either. Like I had asked her what kind of leadership positions are available in this sorority, and she just kind of started telling me about her leadership positions on campus. This is the part where it got a little bit funky. We were just like talking and I asked her, oh, what does a typical day like look like for you as a member of this sorority? And she starts bringing me through her day, and she's telling me some things at the time, and she's like, oh yeah, I go to class, I'll go to lunch with some of my sisters, then I'll go to the library with some of my sisters, and then I might smoke with some of my sisters. And at that point I was just really uncomfortable. I had gone into recruitment hearing like, don't talk about the 3 B's, boys, booze, and bitches. So I went into Rush knowing that. So when she said that, it really caught me off guard. And also at that point in my college experience, I had never drank. I was really uncomfortable around drugs and all of that, so it was just made for a really uncomfortable experience for me and for her. And like, I was trying to relate, like I didn't know how to relate to her and like keep that conversation going because it was something that I was kind of uncomfortable with. And I think at one point I was like, oh yeah, my friend bought drugs on Venmo once. I think my exact words were, my friend bought drugs on Venmo with her parents' credit card. Like, I did not know what to talk about with her, and I was so uncomfortable. So then they did the ritual. The ritual was fine. It was honestly super sweet, but I walked out of that room and I was beyond uncomfortable, and I knew that SA Pi was the only sorority I would accept a bid from at that point. So I went into the preference room. I made my preference. I suicide bidded to SA Pi, which means I single preferenced them, which is not recommended. And honestly, I think if you have a great experience in both of the rooms, like double pref all you want. It just was not for me because I knew I wouldn't be happy in that other sorority. Then I went back to my dorm room and I anxiously awaited for bid day. If you do not get a bid, they contact you to let you know that you did not receive a bid. What I thought was really great with my Rogam was that she asked us, like, would you prefer to be texted or called? And honestly, like, I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity to do that, because like, I would have not wanted a call letting me know. I would have just preferred a text. I feel like that call could have been emotional, and I wanted to avoid that at all costs. So I was honestly anxiously awaiting. I was on edge. I was like, I think SAU Pi liked me. I liked them. I hope they give me a bid. And so I'm just sitting there all day and I'm like waiting. I'm like, I hope my Rogam doesn't call me. Like, I hope she doesn't tell me to show. I hope she tells me to show up. Like, all of that. And then bid day probably started around 6:30, and at probably 3 p.m. my Rogam like wrote in our group chat and she was like, see you all at 6:30. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. So I was so excited at that point because I knew that I had gotten SA Pi because single preferenced them. So I was texting my friend and I was like, I got Sigma, I'm so excited. And she was like, I am so excited, like, see you tonight, like, I'm so freaking pumped. And I went to the Mandela room at 6:30. We sat down. The Rogams did like their Rogam reveal. They were all like wearing their bid day shirts underneath, but they were wearing sweatshirts over them. So they like unzipped and were like, I'm in SA Pi or I'm in Phi Sig and things like that. So that was really exciting. And then they were like, so your bid cards are actually taped under your chairs. And at that point we were all like I did not know. I thought it would be like passed out to me or something. But they were like, your bid cards are under your chairs. And I was like, okay. And they were like, in 3, 2, 1, and we pulled out our bid cards, and then everyone's like, woohoo! And then everyone's like, what sorority are you in? What sorority are you in? And I had gotten Sigma, and I was so excited. What I'm feeling about this year, like, I think my year, a lot of girls did end up single preferencing, because when I got to bid day that night, everyone already knew what sorority they were in. They were like, yeah, I single prefed SDT, or I single prefed A Phi, and like, everyone knew what sorority they were already in, which I thought was pretty funny. So I honestly feel like the excitement in the room was like not as loud. Like I feel like there wasn't a lot of screaming or anything like that, like because I feel like everyone kind of knew. The way it worked for us was we went to it was either like the co-recruitment chairs or the recruitment chair and the president. There were just 2 people from the sorority in the room with us, and we went to them and they gave us our shirts, and then they opened up the wall of the Mandela room and Old Union Hall. They opened up the wall and we all like ran in, and everyone's like screaming, everyone's so excited, the sororities are chanting, we're like, hey Sigma, you're so fine. We like run in, they hug, everyone's hugging, everyone's so excited. You take a bunch of pictures and you just honestly feel really welcome. Bid day so fun. And that is my sorority recruitment experience. It's honestly like 3 days of my life I wish I could never relive again, but also that I would love to relive again. I would love to walk into like, I would love to have that feeling of like walking out of SA Pi and like knowing it was for me, and like that feeling of being welcomed home. So part 2 of this video is kind of be a little bit of spilling tea, like I said. Honestly, like not that much tea. I am not mentioning any sororities here by name or anything like that, because honestly, I don't know what goes on in the other organizations. I only can speak on my own organization. However, I just want to give like a disclaimer that like if you get dropped from a sorority during rush, it's not necessarily because they just didn't like you. And I think that it can be like really hard to process that when you're going through rush. And like I know like when I first got my card back and saw that only 2 sororities had asked me back, I was a little bit upset. And like I mean, there are girls that cry. It can be very disappointing. So I just like I guess want to give a disclaimer that like at Binghamton, number 1, sororities have GPA requirements. So these can be set by the chapter or by the national organization, but there are sororities that do not accept you unless you have over a 2.8 or a 3.0 or a 3.2 or something like that. There are sororities that will not accept you even if they really love you, and it's just because they can. It's because they have a policy in place. I know when I rushed, my GPA was pretty low. It was probably like a 2.7 at the time, because I had spent the first semester as a neuroscience major and I just like wasn't doing too hot. And like I mean, my GPA is fine now, but it was like a 2.7 at the time, and I know that that's why I got cut from some of the other sororities now looking back on it. But in that moment I was like, I thought our conversations went so well, like why did they drop me? So number 1, know that it could be an issue with your GPA. GPA is something that is important to you. You can ask the sororities like, do you have a minimum GPA requirement? And they'll tell you, like that's public knowledge. So if there's a sorority that you really love, and like, so like for example, like if your GPA is a 2.7 at the time and you go into a room and you absolutely love them and you ask them like, what is your GPA requirement, and they say 2.8, you can drop rush there and rush them at a later time. There's no timeline for when girls rush. Every sorority recruits in the spring, and some sororities also recruit in the fall, just depending on quota numbers. So there's always going to be another opportunity for you to rush if you are dead set on a sorority and you do not have the GPA to get in. And I think that that's really important to know, is that you don't have to settle just because your GPA isn't where it should be for that organization. The other reason you may get dropped is because there are sororities at Binghamton that do dirty rush. Dirty rushing is basically when sororities recruit girls during their first semester or the beginning of second semester, and basically like they might take you out, you might go to mixers with them, things like that. And they might bid promise you, which means they'll basically tell you ahead of time, like, you have a bid from our organization, don't worry. So there are sororities at Binghamton that do that. I honestly don't know all of them that do it. I know that there are a few though. So in a way, it feels like it's because they didn't like you, but they also do promise a lot of girls ahead of time bids, meaning they genuinely just cannot keep you because they already have their pledge class decided upon. Finally, I'm going to share some of the advice that I was given during recruitment. I'm going to read through these. Go in with a truly open mind, not just an open mind to 3 orgs, and that is so, so, so important. You can say that you're going in with an open mind, but even if you have your heart set on 3 organizations, like, that's not an open mind. An open mind truly means accepting that you would accept a bid from any sorority at the beginning of the experience because you do not know enough about each of them to make your decision. So go in with an open mind. Another person said emergency. Yes, that is going to be your best friend during the weekend. It is a long, sleepless weekend. If you are feeling down or sick or anything, drink some emergency and get through it. Another person said open mind. Trust your Rogam. She knows what she is talking about. And that is so, so, so true. Your Rogam is there to help guide you through the process. And she is there to make sure it's an enjoyable time for you. So really, like, talk to her, ask for her advice if you need it, and listen to her when she tells you. Rushing alone without a group is no big deal. You meet amazing girls in the orgs anyway. So yes, that is so, so, so true. I did not rush with any of the people in my solidified friend group at that point. And then I made friends through Rush and after Rush when I joined my sorority. So definitely, if you are going through Rush alone, don't be scared. Wear comfortable shoes. Yes, 100%. You will be on your feet all day long and it can get exhausting. So comfortable shoes that you can walk in. Go with your gut about which org you feel you click/vibe with. It's all about finding your people. And I think that's something that I'm going to add to this is, like, even if you are a legacy of an organization or you have friends in an organization, if you do not think you are vibing with the girls that you are speaking to during Rush and you don't feel comfortable in their Rush room, do not go ahead with that organization. Go where you find that you belong. Your friends are never going to know if you rank their sorority last. That is confidential information. And also, even if you're a legacy, like, your mom, your grandma, your great grandma, like, they're gonna be so happy that you just joined a sorority and you found your home to begin with. Like, do not feel pressured to pick a sorority that you are a legacy of. And then be open-minded. Again, it helps make it a fun process. And yes, if you go into those rooms, if you go in with negative connotations about each organization, you're going to be miserable in those rooms. And, like, even if you know that you're not going to pick an organization, please be positive in that room anyway. The girls do not want to, like, the girls don't want to have to pull teeth with you. They have to talk to you for 30 minutes. That's the way it works. We can't just sit there in silence. So try to be positive and try to have a happy, open attitude, even if you know which organization you're going to pick. So this video was a total whirlwind of information. I talked about my experience, some reasons you may get dropped, my advice. So, like, seriously, if I missed anything, or if you have any questions about anything, feel free to comment below or DM me on Instagram at @TheRealJamieG. I want to help you find your home, and I am graduated now, so I am unbiased. Well, actually, no, I'm biased. I love SA Pi. Really made my college experience. But if you guys have questions about recruitment, the way it works, joining a sorority, anything like that, please reach out to me and let me know, because I want to help you guys. And I want to see you guys find your homes in Greek life or anywhere on campus. So definitely reach out to me. I want to help you. And I'm unemployed, so I had nothing better to do with my life. But all of that being said, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was fun, informative. If you liked this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.